Good evening, everyone. My name is Courtney Williams. I will be emceeing tonight for our webinar, Why Hochul's Nuclear Power Plan Isn't a Solution. We're going to start by just giving you an overview of the timeline that got us here to holding this webinar. Then we're going to move through a series of presenters. I'm going to talk about my personal experience living in an environmental justice community next to Indian Point Nuclear Power Plant. We'll also talk about why nuclear is not safe, from the uranium mining to the radioactive waste, why it's not an economical solution, and the hypothetical small modular reactors are not the answer, why it's not a climate solution, and then we hopefully will have time for Q&A, and we will definitely be taking time for action, because that is what is most important tonight to derailing Governor Hochul's plan. So to start us off, I just want to talk about the past 6 months that led up to tonight. So over the last 6 months, Governor Hochul has launched an agenda to shift our energy and climate priorities away from the renewable energy transition that we all fought for in the CLCPA, the Climate Leadership Community Protection Act, and instead shifted towards promoting nuclear energy. So last summer, she directed NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, to produce what she called a blueprint for consideration of advanced nuclear energy technologies. And she convened the State Energy Planning Board to begin drafting the next statewide energy plan. Then in September, NYSERDA published a draft of that blueprint, and Governor Hochul hosted a big, showy Future Energy Economy Summit in Syracuse that primarily focused on the expansion of nuclear energy in New York. Climate justice movement responded. We had over 150 organizations across the state issue a letter to Governor Hochul opposing an expansion of nuclear energy. And then in November, over 1,200 New Yorkers and 226 organizations submitted comments in opposition of the call for that nuclear blueprint. But November came, NYSERDA issued a request for companies interested in building new nuclear power plants in New York. January, Governor Hochul made 3 announcements in her State of the State speech. One, she directed NYSERDA to create a, quote, master plan for responsible advanced nuclear development in New York. She committed the state to co-lead a multi-state consortium to develop nuclear energy, and she committed the state to support the corporation Constellation in applying for what's called an early site permit for a new reactor at the 9 Mile Point nuclear plant in Oswego County. And just to give you an idea, we all know we are facing a climate emergency. An early site permit from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission approves a specific site for a future nuclear reactor. Each permit is valid for 10 to 20 years and can be extended for another 10 to 20 years, according to the NRC. So we're looking at a 10 to 40-year timeline here, and I think we can all agree we don't have that kind of time. Meanwhile, following the governor's lead, a polluting gas-powered crypto mine that a lot of us have been fighting in North Tonawanda has stated that they plan to repower their operation with nuclear reactors. Most recently, on January 25th, NYSERDA issued a revised blueprint for consideration of advanced nuclear energy technologies, and it mapped out a series of 8 more studies that NYSERDA will commission to create the master plan by the end of 2026.